Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Global. We'll get you top stories from India and the region. I am Tanvi Taneja. And for news from the rest of the world, I'm joined by my colleague in Berlin today, Trent Murray. Namaste, Trent.
Well, namaste to you, Tanvi, and to all of our viewers around the rest of the world. It is 12:30 here in Central Europe. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, we will have all of the latest in that ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. Secretary of State Antony Blinken from the United States flying into the region as calls grow for a ceasefire, plus questions over whether artificial intelligence presents a threat to humans. It's a question world leaders are discussing right now in the United Kingdom. Back to you, Tanvi.
Fierce fighting in Gaza continues. More foreign nationals and injured Gazans expected to leave through the Rafah crossing today. Russian President Vladimir Putin signs a law revoking the ratification of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. China and the United States to hold arms control and non-proliferation consultations next week in Washington. As the Israel-Gaza conflict enters day 27, Israeli tanks and troops pressed towards Gaza City on Thursday, but met fierce resistance from Hamas militants using mortars and hit-and-run attacks from tunnels as the Palestinian death toll from nearly 4 weeks of bombardments mounted. Israeli military released footage of ground operations in Gaza on Thursday, showing tanks and soldiers proceeding into the strip, as well as targets being hit by airstrikes. Israel has sent its forces into Hamas-controlled Gaza following weeks of air and artillery bombardments in retaliation to the deadly attack by Hamas on October 7th. Israeli authorities say Hamas terrorists killed at least 1,400 people and took at least 242 people as hostages. Meanwhile, medical authorities in Gaza claim that over 8,000 people have already been killed, which include thousands of children.
So
far, 242 families of 242 hostages have been notified. I repeat, 242 hostages. We are committed to the national task to return them all home. The battle is ongoing as we have planned. In each battle, we have the upper hand, and that's how we move forward.
So the reopening of the Rafah border crossing today aims to facilitate the departure of more foreigners seeking to leave Gaza. For more on this and other stories, I'm joined by my colleague Trent Murray, who is in Berlin. He gives us more on the Israel-Hamas war and other stories making headlines around the world. Trent, over to you.
Thank you, Tanvi. Well, another Israeli airstrike has hit the Jabalia refugee camp in Gaza, causing a number of casualties. The fresh strike has displaced thousands of Gazans who are seeking shelter in a UN-sponsored school. Now, an early attack on the Jabalia camp on Wednesday killed at least 50 people and injured hundreds more. The conflict has so far killed at least 9,000 in Gaza, including more than 3,700 children. And on Thursday, more ambulances and foreigners have gathered at the Rafah border crossing between Egypt and Gaza, which has opened for a second day. Foreigners and Palestinians with dual nationalities were seen leaving Gaza through the Rafah border crossing on Thursday. Now, Gaza officials have announced that approximately 7,500 foreign passport holders will be evacuated over the course of the next 2 weeks. At least 320 foreign passport holders and dozens of severely injured Gazans left the Palestinian enclave on Wednesday through that Rafah border crossing, which goes into Egypt. Meanwhile, in the north, Israeli tanks have been deployed near the Israeli-Lebanese border as the Israel-Hamas conflict rages on. The Israeli army said that its forces were on high alert as cross-border fire continued. Lebanon's Hezbollah said it destroyed an Israeli drone over southern Lebanon with a surface-to-air missile. It's an account which has been disputed by Israel's military, which confirmed the missile launch but said the aircraft suffered no damage. US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken is visiting Israel again, the third time in less than a month. He plans to meet Israeli officials, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, on Friday to voice solidarity, but also the need to reassert and minimise Palestinian civilian casualties. Blinken will also stop in neighbouring Jordan, where he will underscore the importance of protecting civilian lives and will pursue talks led by both Egypt and Qatar on securing the release of all of those hostages being held by Hamas. And to other news, Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday signed a new law revoking Russia's ratification of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. The 1996 treaty outlaws all nuclear explosions, including live tests of nuclear weapons, though it never came into force because of some key countries, including the United States and China, never ratifying it. The West has accused Russia of using reckless nuclear rhetoric since it launched its offensive in Ukraine last February. The Kremlin on Thursday dismissed claims by Ukraine's commander-in-chief that the conflict in Ukraine was transitioning into a new phase of static fighting. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov emphasised that it was unrealistic for Ukraine to anticipate battlefield victory and also claimed that Russia continues its special military operations and will fulfil all of its goals. India, along with 27 other countries and the European Union, have signed a declaration at a meeting in the United Kingdom pledging to work together to assess the risks associated with artificial intelligence. The UK government on Wednesday issued what's known as the Bletchley Declaration and discussed warnings about the threats presented by artificial intelligence systems. The declaration also noted the importance of AI systems in daily routines like employment, education, health, and added that their use is likely to see an ascent. Day 2 of the summit is aiming to discuss the global priorities for artificial intelligence over the next 5 years. DD India's Julia Chapman sent us this report from Bletchley Park.
Artificial intelligence is not a challenge that can be met by individual nations. It doesn't know any borders, it certainly doesn't recognise them, so this is something that needs to be tackled collectively. That was emphasised by India's Minister of State for IT when we sat down with him yesterday. Really this idea that all countries need to come together to research artificial intelligence and what it will mean for the future, what the risks are involved, as well as the opportunities. And although this particular declaration didn't focus on any kind of international regulatory body, it did suggest that there would have to be more close cooperation when it comes to different countries tackling this particular challenge of the future. We've seen a lot of different attempts or efforts towards regulation in individual countries, but this could be paving the way for a broader approach from different countries around the world. There are voices like Elon Musk who said that there needs to be a third-party referee, suggesting that stronger regulation is needed in order to ensure that AI is being developed safely by technology companies. That doesn't necessarily take the form of government intervention. There could be some sort of global body that helps examine these challenges. But other countries have been more unwilling to tackle it from regulation until AI is better understood. The UK among them, although we have seen the US starting to move in that direction, Canada as well, the European Union working through legislation in order to enforce the ability to shut down any company that is developing AI that could pose a threat to humanity. But also we heard from Kamala Harris, the US Vice President, yesterday saying that these were not just long-term threats that were existential, there are already short-term, immediate impacts of AI.
The Chinese Foreign Ministry said a leading official from its Department of Arms Control Affairs will lead a delegation in the China-US nuclear talks. Chinese spokesperson Wang Wenbin said the two countries will hold consultations on arms control and non-proliferation. The talks come just days after Foreign Minister Wang Yi met with senior US officials, with both sides agreeing to hold consultations over the near future. Hollywood actors and their union are still far away from any concrete deal. New challenges include issues related to artificial intelligence. The two sides will continue talks to try and strike a deal. And Tanvi, that is all from us here in Berlin. For the rest of the day's headlines, it's back to you in New Delhi.
Thank you, Trent. Trent Murray joining us all the way from our Berlin bureau. Now, some weather news. Storm Ciarán smashed into northwestern Europe on Thursday with strong winds and driving rain, killing one person in France and forcing the closure of schools, airports and rail and ferry services. A truck driver was killed by a falling tree northeast of Paris, and 1.2 million French households were left without electricity. Authorities in Finistère-Brittany urged people to stay at home and avoid winds which were hitting 207 kph, leading to reports of 20-meter waves off the coast. Storm Ciarán, which follows on the heels of Storm Barbette 2 weeks ago, was driven by a powerful jet stream that swept in from the Atlantic, unleashing heavy rain and furious winds that have already caused heavy flooding in Northern Ireland and parts of Britain. The northern Queensland state of Australia is experiencing bushfires that have damaged hundreds of homes and claimed the lives of 2 individuals. Queensland residents were ordered to evacuate their homes on Wednesday as bushfires burned out of control, while firefighters, including those flown in from across the country and from neighbouring New Zealand, battled the blazes. The early start of the fire season comes as Australia recorded its driest September, and the Weather Bureau predicts hot weather and below average rainfall. More than 7,500 hectares are burning out of control in the neighbouring state of New South Wales. You're watching DD India Global, still to come on the show. Asian cities of Beijing and Delhi under dense layer of smog cover. Election Commission of Pakistan finally announces dates for general elections to be held in the country next year.
India that invents. India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibility. Teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday, 8 p.m. only on DD India.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes. connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Global. I am Tanvi Taneja. India's Foreign Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has begun his visit to Italy with a Senate interaction on India's deepening partnership. The minister thanked Senator Julio Terzi and Senator Roberto Menia for co-chairing. Dr. S. Jaishankar appreciated the warm sentiments for India across party lines there. And next, about India's finance minister's visit to Sri Lanka. So during her official visit to Sri Lanka, Indian Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman inaugurated the State Bank of India branch in Trincomalee. Finance Minister appreciated that SBI, with its 159 years of significant presence, is the oldest bank in Sri Lanka and continues to grow its business at home and abroad. After the inauguration, the Indian Finance Minister also interacted with the new branch officials and distributed passbooks to new customers, besides filling the visitors' book in Trincomalee, Sri Lanka. India's Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan visited the under-construction BAPS Hindu Temple in Abu Dhabi, UAE on Thursday. The temple is expected to be one of the largest and most beautiful Hindu temples outside of India and is scheduled to be completed in 2024. During the visit, India's Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan expressed his gratitude to the leadership of the United Arab Emirates for their continuous support in making this Hindu temple a reality. He also emphasized the temple's significance in promoting the rich Indian culture and heritage within the UAE and strengthening the enduring bond between the two nations.
This temple represents the modernity. This temple represents the eternity of Indian civilization. This will create global harmony, global peace and global well-being. I am confident the Indian civilization will be responsible for global harmony in future. This temple, this Swaminarayan temple, will rightly inculcate the spirit of Indian civilization in the present day world's order.
On to neighbouring Pakistan now. General elections in Pakistan will be held on February the 11th, 2024. This is what the country's poll body informed the Supreme Court on Thursday, putting an end to months-long uncertainty. The Election Commission of Pakistan's council said that the process of drawing constituencies would be completed by January 29th, paving way for the polls. He said this as the Apex Court resumed hearing on a set of petitions calling for holding elections within 90 days after the dissolution of the National Assembly and the provincial legislatures. A three-judge bench comprising Chief Justice of Pakistan took up the pleas and moved by the Supreme Court Bar Association, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf and others. The second day of the countrywide three-day blockade was marked by skirmishes, vandalism and vehicle torching in several parts of Dhaka. Law enforcers detained more than 100 leaders and activists of the BNP and other opposition parties across Bangladesh. At least 21 incidents of arson were reported across Bangladesh in 24 hours till Wednesday. Sources at the media cell of the Fire Service and Civil Defence Headquarters said that they got information about 21 arson attacks across the country, amongst which 5 occurred in Dhaka city and 7 in Dhaka division. The blockade that started on Tuesday is going to end today. Japan's government is announcing $113 billion in financial support for people hurting from the rising cost of living there. The stimulus package aims to provide temporary tax relief to consumers and subsidize energy and gas prices. DD India's Chris Gilbert has more from Tokyo.
Well, the government had promised details about some kind of stimulus package by the end of October, and now we have it. Some 17 trillion yen, or 113 billion US dollars, in this package, mostly targeting temporary tax relief in the income taxes and residential taxes of citizens, and also looking at subsidizing the rising cost of utilities and gasoline, as consumers here have hurt for about a year and a half now with the rising cost of living. We saw a very similar package at exactly this time last year, a much bigger package, in fact, of about 200 billion US dollars that was also aimed at the rising cost of utilities, but also helping small and medium-sized businesses with their rising costs as well. And economists say that these stimulus packages are not the solution to Japan's economic woes. They are band-aids along the way. The main problem facing the economy is the consistently high value of import commodities as the yen stays weak. Japan's interest rates are very low. Other major economies like the United States have high interest rates by comparison. That divergence is putting downward pressure on the yen, upward pressure on the value of import goods, and consumers are seeing that here in their daily expenditure, particularly in their energy bills. But the monetary lever is somewhat closed. The Bank of Japan does not want to raise interest rates and wants to encourage spending. It does not want to send shockwaves through the market with any drastic change. And so that really leaves the government with these fiscal stimulus options as some kind of solution to take the bite out of the economy. Political scientists also have a raised eyebrow about this at the moment. They're saying that the Prime Minister does want to call a snap election sometime in the next 12 months, but his problem is that his polling is in the gutter with some 32 or 33% cabinet approval ratings at the moment. Any snap election announcement could just bleed the ruling LDP, the ruling party, seats in the House of Representatives. And so packages like this are also, political scientists say, a tool for the Prime Minister to try and boost his popularity, the popularity of the government somewhat, before calling any kind of snap election. But the main focus really is on taking the bite out of the economy with this $113 billion stimulus package. Chris Gilbert in Tokyo, reporting for DD India.
Next in DD India Global, we take a look at other stories making news around the world. Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte and Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh attended the Green Economy Forum in Hanoi on Thursday. They discussed the importance of sustainable economic growth and eco-friendly practices. Turkey captured a wanted Australian fugitive facing drug smuggling charges along with 36 others connected to an international armed organised crime organisation. This group has also been under pursuit by the United States and New Zealand authorities. The air quality index in India's national capital, Delhi, was recorded at 336 on Thursday morning, bringing the air quality under the very poor category for the fourth day in a row. As per the System of Air Quality and Weather Forecasting and Research, the city's AQI has been in the very poor category since Sunday. Beijing, the capital of China, is under dense layer of smog cover. The previous day, authorities issued their highest warnings alerts for fog and haze, alerting the public to the possibility of visibility as low as 50 meters. Beijing plans to implement traffic control measures if it triggers its highest air pollution warning, citing weak cold air currents from the North Pole, industrial activities, heavy trucking and crop fires as contributing factors. And time now for some sporting action. India is currently taking on Sri Lanka in the ICC Cricket World Cup at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai. Shubman Gill scored 92 runs while Virat Kohli missed his 49th ODI century as he was dismissed on 88 runs. Currently, Suryakumar Yadav and Shreyas Iyer are standing unbeaten at the crease for 4 down India. Till the last reports came in, India were at 274 runs for the loss of 4 wickets. An Indian film actor and global icon, Shah Rukh Khan, often lovingly referred to as King Khan, celebrates his 58th birthday today. DD India wishes the Badshah of Bollywood a very happy birthday.
चल छैया 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 चल छैया 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 चल छैया 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 चल छैया 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 चल छैया 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 चल छैया 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 धूप से निकल के छाँव से फिसल के हम मिले जहाँ पर लम्हा थम गया पास आए यूं मुस्कुराए
Brief glimpse of Shah Rukh Khan's career there. That's all in this edition of DD India Global. We'll be back with another edition at 7:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram at DD India Live. We will be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Tanvi Taneja. From all of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching. Namaskar.